Another Wednesday has come and gone, which means more pro deadlock matches for me to talk about. There's two matches I'm going to cover from this tournament. The first one is Melee Creeps versus Floorman, the video you're watching right now, and a 60k sole comeback by Abrahams in the finals match in EU against Loki W. But the script is taking a very long time, so subscribe for that video releases. Melee Creeps versus Floorman was the match we saw Celeste make a competitive debut after getting first round banned every single match last week and getting first round banned 4 times during this week's tournament. The question I'm hopefully going to answer in this video is why Celeste is so good and why the pros are afraid to play against her. What makes Celeste so broken is the fact that she doesn't play deadlock. She's playing CSGO Surf while everyone else in the match is playing deadlock. She has the longest dash distance in the game, has reduced gravity at all times, and almost has 1-to-1 air control, which means she can do movement and rotate on the map at speeds some characters can only dream of. And since Ido, the LeBron of deadlock, is playing her, you are going to see some peak rotations. Celeste has very good damage scaling, and her frontline presence is surprisingly strong for someone who has pretty low health per boon. So Melee Creeps are going to play into Celeste's strengths and draft a team that has a strong frontline and a good team fight. Melee Creeps get first pick and first ban, and they ban Holiday to target ban Cooper, who is the #1 Holiday in North America, and the second ban Mirage, who is currently one of the best hyper carries, who is able to match the rotations of Melee Creeps with his teleport, being able to be anywhere on the map. And they draft Celeste, Lady Geist, Abrams, Ivy, Bebop, and Venator. This team is very tanky, and they have a very strong frontline with the Abrams, Celeste, and Geist. The frontline just does not die. Geist has swap and life drain, and also serves as an off carry. Abrams has his passive as well as very good base HP and health scaling, and Celeste has her base 200 HP spirit scaling barrier and her uncatchable movement. Your main support is the Ivy, who gives healing and rotations with her flight. Your initiation is Bebop with his hook, and your hyper carry is the Venator, who's going to be farming the entire time his team is fighting so he can carry the late game. Floormen decide to ban Silver, who is one of the best frontliners in the game, and they second ban Kelvin because they fear his dome and his healing output. They draft Billy, Shiv, Paradox, Warden, Mina, and Rem. You have the best frontline in the game with Shiv and Billy. Your main support is Rem, who does insane amounts of healing and damage, and you have the best initiator in the game, Paradox, and you have one of the best off carries in the game, Mina, and your hyper carry as Warden. This draft is very tanky, but is also very good at team fighting, and Rem makes this draft even tankier with his healing. On paper, Floorman has the slightly better draft. They have the better frontline, the better initiation, but if you include the team names, this draft is a different story. At this is Melee Creeps, the best team in North America. Now let's move on to the game. You see Floorman put Billy, Rem left lane, Paradox, Warden mid lane, and Shiv, Mina right lane. Both side lanes are very strong, but the lane I want to focus on specifically is the mid lane. Paradox is going to be homeless this game. She's going to be moving around from lane to lane, ganking the entire early game, so Warden can get solo farm and get ahead in the early game, which makes his last cluster early and mid game a lot easier because he's going to have a lot more souls because of the solo farm. Paradox is also going to make her side lanes a lot easier by constant ganking. If you want to learn more about the homeless playstyle, go watch my last video where I go very in depth about the homeless Paradox. Melee Creeps put Celeste, Abrams left lane, Bebop Venator mid lane, and Lady Geist, Ivy right lane. And again, very strong side lanes, and we see Melee Creeps do the same thing with the mid lane. They put their hyper carry mid lane to solo farm while Bebop goes around and ganks the side lanes. But Bebop isn't exactly going to be going to random lanes. He's going to try and match the Paradox on her ganks and gank the Paradox back. Think of it like a game of tag. If Paradox is the left lane, Bebop's going to follow her there. If Bebop goes to the right lane, Paradox is going to follow him there. It's very entertaining. Nothing really happens for the first few minutes of the game. The only notable thing being a gank from the homeless Paradox at the 2-minute mark, which is a little bit earlier than usual. We usually see ganks happen after the 2-minute mark because that's when boxes spawn. But they decide to call it earlier because they fear the Bebop rotation match. And it works in their favor because they kill Ido. The next little bit is basically the game of tag I mentioned, where both teams' homeless people are moving between lanes. But in the mid lane, we see a fight start off at Bebop hook, grabs a Paradox. Both Bebop and Paradox trade a little bit, but Paradox barely loses, getting killed by the Ivy. After killing Paradox, Venator and Ivy dive the Warden under tower, but he barely escapes to the Walker. Mina comes in for the side lane to try and support, gets haunted by the Vampire Slayer, who later gets traded out by the Paradox. While that fight was happening mid lane, we see a fight happen on the left lane. Abrams is able to find the rat, getting a kill, but Billy trades him out, killing Celeste. A few minutes later, Bebop tries to gank the left lane. He hooks into Billy, but Paradox is playing that game of tag, and turns the gank around on him, getting the kill on the Bebop. Now comes the most important part of the early game. Sinners are very easy to farm, the souls are split between the entire team, and they give you 4 permanent buffs. So both teams are going to try and punish the other person for farming their sinners. Ivy tries to do just that, but flies a little too close to the sun and gets cut down. Meanwhile, on the left lane, Billy pops Shengang, pulling the Abrams under tower, picking him off. They then use that pick to get the left lane tower. And finally, we see some action in the right lane. Mina uses her Nox Nostra, Warden pops the last stand, and they get a kill on the Ivy. After Ivy respawns, we see a big group in the mid lane. Abrams is able to find a pin on the Paradox, giving them one, and we see Ido fly in from the sky, getting a kill on the Shiv, making them able to take mid tower. Now at the 10-minute mark, we see the first big fight happen over Urn possession. NA plays a little different than EU. EU likes to contest the Urn drop off, while NA likes to contest the Urn pickup. And with Celeste being in the game, floormen do not want Celeste to get that Urn, because she can move the Urn around the map so fast. You see a big fight break out, with Ivy falling first. Bebop uses Hyper Beam to stop floorman from grabbing the Urn. It doesn't find any kills, but it gets Billy pretty low health. Shiv tries to guide the Venator, but melee creeps collapse on him. Rem uses a sleep to try and save the Shiv, but he barely doesn't escape. Paradox tries to trade, but gets stunned and punished for overextending. All while Billy is jumping to Abrams, getting him a kill. We try and see a re-engage from the Billy, but he gets trapped and stunned back. All while Ido is jumping the Rem, getting the main support down. Ivy tries to go in for the Urn to grab it, but gets instantly shut down by the Goat and killed on the escape by the Mino. Celeste tries to make something happen, but gets swapped and killed. Floorman take the team fight win and grab the Urn as a price, as well as killing Bebop on the way out. Overall, Floorman win that fight, and now they are ahead by 4k, and they have the Urn. As Floorman run the Urn, melee creeps answer by taking Gulf Guardian. With Shiv approaching the Urn drop-off, we see a master group up from both teams. But Billy gets caught on his way over from the mid lane by Celeste and Bebop, with him getting absolutely chased down by the movement goddess. Shiv tries to go in for the Urn turn-in, but gets stopped, and we see a massive fight break out. Bebop uses Hyper Beam, forcing Floorman away from the Urn, and Ivy just picks it up and turns it in. Guys tries her hardest to live, but gets jumped, falling, and Ido hits an insane rotation from the mid lane to rotate over and join the fight. Both teams trade damage, but melee creeps are forced to back up under the Guardian. Ivy tries to contest it, getting taken, but gets exploded by the Paradox and Mina. Melee creeps try and trade out, catching the Paradox on her way out, and Mina tries to get Celeste, but is forced back. And in the mid lane, we see a massive pin from the Abrams getting the Shiv. Back in the right lane, Bebop stays a little longer than intended and gets jumped. Guys tries to save him, but gets picked off herself. And Billy tries to use all his commotion to steal melee creeps' sinners, but gets chased down by the Venator and gets one shot. And again, a few minutes later, we see both teams try and fight to pick up the Urn. Ido hits a nasty rollout to stall long enough for his team to get the Urn, but gets hunted down by the Mina. Ivy gets the Urn, but gets hunted down by Shiv, making her drop it. And Guy steals a little too far deep and gets killed off. But Abrams is able to find the trade on the Warden, but soon later he gets picked off himself, giving Floorman the possession of Urn again. They try and play it slow, Abrams holding the Urn in their spawn. And we see a fight break out on the mid lane with Shiv getting picked. After Shiv respawns, we see Floorman go for the Urn turn-in. Both teams gather around and start trading. Rem gets picked off first by the Abrams, and Shiv falls moments after by the Venator. Ivy uses this opportunity to grab the Urn and just turn it in, giving them another Urn, forcing Floorman to back off. After everyone respawns, we see a group up mid by Floorman trying to take the mid Guardian. Paradox finds a massive swap on the Abrams just as he's about to get away, and that's the pick they need to take the Guardian. And again, nothing much happens until that 20-minute mark when another Urn spawns in. Melee creeps shut the left lane, taking the Walker and getting the Urn because they have all the space on the left lane. However, Venator and Bebop overstay. Venator gets slept and knocks Nostrad, basically giving them a free kill, and Bebop falls right after. But while they're fighting on that left lane, Ivy just goes in and turns in the Urn again. However, Floorman make the pro gamer decision of doing mid boss as she's turning in the Urn. Celeste and Ivy try to contest, but both fall. After mid boss, Floorman moved to the right lane, catching the Geist alone. People try and rotate over to save her, but they just don't make it in time. However, Bebop is able to get a trade on the Paradox, getting one rejuve down. Over the next few minutes, both teams try and poke each other out. We see Celeste alone at double Sinners, and Shiv and Paradox collapse on her. We see a swap come through. And normally any other character would be dead. But Celeste is just built different. She just floats up the wall and uses her better air control to just float away. And you'll see why Ido living here is very, very important for the next fight. After Ido escapes, we see a group up on the left Walker from the Floorman. Shiv gets picked up by the Celeste and Venator, losing their second rejuve, and Rem gets hit by the train, falling and losing his final rejuve. Venator sees an opportunity and dives in there with Celeste following behind him, and she is just dumping abilities all on the battlefield. Venator is able to get two, Abrams is able to get Billy, and Warden drops right after. Floorman try and run away, but Venator just explodes the Paradox, and Geist is able to get the rat while he's trying his hardest to run away. At this point in the game, it's just a wash, but there's one more fight I would like to show. We see this fight start off with Ido completely chasing down the Shiv, and it makes it impossible for him to escape. Normally Shiv can just get away because of his shotgun knockback on a secondary fire, but Celeste has so much stamina and movement, it makes it impossible for Shiv to get away. Venator is able to find a kill on the Rem, and Paradox is getting chased down again by the Celeste, with Venator coming in for backup, getting the kill. Melee creeps just play the lead they have. They get 2 more Urns and a mid-boss, and just run down the entire enemy team on the final base push, even going inside the spawn for the last kill. Keep in mind, this is only the first showing of this character, and I personally am very excited to see how this character evolves and his sick movement and rollouts we'll see from these pros. If you like this video, subscribe. I have a lot more videos coming out soon. If you have any feedback, please leave them in the comments. I read them all, and I try to make the viewing experience as best as I possibly can. Have a wonderful day.